Hello, my name is Jennifer Wilson, and I'm with the Gulfport School District. And today we're going to talk about standard L.4.5 figurative language. Let's get started. So, what is figurative language? Figurative language is when words mean something other than their literal meaning. So, the reader has to interpret what the author is trying to say in the story or in the poem. Writers use figurative language to express their ideas in vivid or imaginative ways. So the types of figurative language we're going to look at today are similes, metaphors, idioms, personification, hyperbole, and alliteration. So let's look at those examples. First thing we have are similes. Similes compare two things using like or as. Let's look at our example. After the school year ended, we felt as free as birds. So we are comparing how we feel at the end of the school year to birds. Next, we have the thunder was like a lion roaring across the sky. So we are comparing how the thunder sounded like a lion. So that is what a simile is. Now we have another type of comparison, which are metaphors, where they compare two things, but they do not use like or as. For example, the clouds were cotton balls in the sky. We're comparing the clouds to that of cotton balls, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Next, we have he was a walking dictionary, able to define just about any word. So we're comparing the boy to that of a dictionary, and we're not using like or as. Next, we have our idioms. Idioms are phrases that have different meanings than what it says. For example, Jasmine stayed home from school because she was feeling under the weather. Now, that statement, under the weather, does not mean that she is under clouds, under rain, or anything pertaining to weather, but what it means is Jasmine stayed home from school because she wasn't feeling good. Next, we have it was raining cats and dogs this morning. Okay, you may have heard this one before, but it doesn't mean that it's raining actual cats and dogs. But what it means is it's just raining really, really hard. So those idioms have a totally different meaning than what it really says in the sentence or in the story. So next we have personification. Personification is when non-human things are given human qualities and characteristics. We have lightning danced across the sky. Lightning doesn't really dance like a person, but you get an idea of what the lightning looked like and how it moved across the sky. Next, we have my alarm clock yells at me to get out of bed every morning. Now, we know that an alarm clock doesn't actually yell, so it's not an actual person, but what it's doing is that alarm clock is taking on those qualities like a person, but what it means is just the alarm clock is just really, really loud in the morning as I'm trying to get up. Okay, so next we have our hyperboles. Hyperboles are extreme exaggerations. For example, her backpack weighs a ton. Now, you might have said this before, but what it means is it's just the backpack is just really, really heavy. And it's just, you're just exaggerating how that backpack feels like. Next, I have a million things to do when I get home tonight. It doesn't mean that I actually have a million things to do. It just means that I have a lot to do when I get home. So it's just those exaggerations. And you hear this a lot, and kids say this a lot, and you'll see it a lot of times in your stories. Last, we have alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the beginning sounds in words. For example, Susie sold seashells by the seashore. If you say it fast, you hear that S sound, and also it can be a tongue twister as well. But you see that S and that's the beginning sound of all those words in that sentence. The next we have the buzzing bee blew past my big ear, and we have that repetition of the bee in buzzing, bee, blew, and big. Okay, so we're going to look at some clues to figure out what type of figurative language it is. First one, he's got tons of money. So we see a picture of a boy with all this money. So what do you think this one might be? So we see that word tons. So when we think about it, all it's saying is he's just very rich. So it is a hyperbole. It's that extreme exaggeration. Okay, let's look at our next one. He runs as fast as lightning. So when we look at this, we think of, oh, I see as in there, and I'm comparing how fast he runs to that of lightning. So what do you think this might be? So we've got our little boy running, and we have our lightning bolt. So this is a simile. We're comparing something, and we're using as, but we're comparing how fast the boy is to lightning. Okay, let's look at our next one. Andrea and her class were going on a field trip to the zoo. The class was not sure if they would have enough time to see the giraffe exhibit or not, so they decided to play it by ear. Playing it by ear. Let's think about it. So we have our ear. Now, is it really playing music? No, it is not. So what this is an idiom, meaning that they will decide at a later time to see how things go. So when someone says play it by ear, they're going to just kind of see what's happening as the day goes on. All right, let's look at our next one. She has a heart of gold. Okay, so when we think about this, we're looking at the girl with the heart of gold. So what this is a metaphor. We're comparing the girl's heart to gold, meaning she's just a really kind and gentle person. All right, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's a common tongue twister. So we know that this one is going to be, we have our picture, and we see that consonant P is being repeated. So it is alliteration. All right, so some things to remember about figurative language. Figurative language does not mean what it says literally. And also figurative language can be used to make those stories and writings more exciting and entertaining. You can visualize more when you use those different types of figurative language. So next time that you're reading your stories or you're writing, try to use some figurative language and try to figure out what it means.